a business partner, and he's hanging out with Joe Exotic and some tigers today. So, how you doing, Paul?
It's good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to be here.
I've been hanging out with Joe all day. He's a little crazy, but we're here live to talk about land.
Yeah, we are here live to talk about land, and today the topic is how to succeed as a land investing entrepreneur. So we're just gonna rattle off some questions and kind of free flow it a little bit. And if any of you have any questions for us as we're going through this, please feel free to post in the chat, and we're happy to go off topic if you have questions on this or someone else. So we got Facebook user. Damn it, it's still not showing who it is, but we got Facebook user with a smiley face, so that's good. So cool. And let's get started, Paul. What do you say?
Yeah, you want to start it or am I starting it?
Doesn't matter. So I guess first let's talk about what does your daily routine look like? Every day. What are you doing every day?
Okay, so I think let's take a step back. So normally I live in Chicago. Well, I travel a lot, but I live in Chicago. That's where our office is. And the day that once I saw that things were getting bad, I booked a flight last month. Today's actually 1 month that I've been in Florida. I booked a flight. I came down to Florida because I knew that my quality of life would be a lot better if I was down in Florida. I'm also a lot closer to Carol Baskin, which is good.
Yeah, you do love Carol Baskin.
Yeah, she's not too far from where I'm at. But I got on a plane. I flew down here with my dad. He left. I've been down here for a while now, and I knew that like if I stayed in Chicago, I would be so bored and like with nothing to do. So I came down here, and my typical day is I try to get up. So like during normal times, I get up I get up pretty early, like 6 a.m. But now that now that there's like nothing going on at night, I sleep in a little bit later because I don't need as many hours in the day. So I get up around like 7:30, 7:45. And as soon as I get up, I do some type of working out. I try to work out every single day.
So why are you so yoked? I was wondering why you're so yoked, but
yeah, no, I've been training the tigers, so
okay. That's part of the workout, or is that separate?
No, that's how I work out.
Okay.
No, so I did your pull-up bar ever come, by the way?
No, it's coming in mid-May. So we've got a little while. So yeah, I ordered a pull-up bar a couple weeks ago, and it's taken a little while. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be getting pretty flabby, but that's to be expected.
Yeah. So I like the first day I got here, I purchased whatever equipment I could on Amazon. So I got like a kettlebell and some those band things. So I try to make a workout every day. There's this really cool website. I'm going to post it. Basically, it'll give you a workout depending on what type of equipment you have. I'm going to post a link right here. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah. So if you guys are looking for everyone's always like, I don't know what to do. This website's pretty cool. So I work out for at least an hour every morning, then go in the pool and swim, cool down, do a swimming cool down, and then get to work. So the mornings I like to spend my mornings, I work with my Amazon team for like the first 2 hours because they're based overseas. Are we talking about delegating today or no?
You can get into whatever you want. We can talk about whatever we want. We have no topics.
We could talk about Carol Baskin if you want.
Yeah, I'm down to talk about Carol Baskin for an
hour. So yeah, then I'll work for a couple hours on my Amazon business, and then we'll convene around like 11 or 12, and we'll work till like 5 o'clock, and then I'll go fishing. I try to go fishing every single day. Once work's over, I go fishing or I go wakeboarding. I've gotten pretty good at wakeboarding. And then make dinner, watch maybe an hour of TV, and do it again every single day. I think one of the most important things during this is having some sort of routine. So like I'll plan out what we're going to work on tomorrow. I'll plan out what my workout's going to be the night before. Because
Yep.
if you like start a day without a plan, what does it say in your planner?
My planner. Let me check. I keep
It
forgetting.
says every battle's won.
Yeah, every battle is won before it's fought. Plan tomorrow today. So
Yeah. So I try to live by that. What does your routine look like?
yeah, so my routine hasn't changed very much. I know you left. Well, I guess it has changed a little bit because we're not going to the office anymore. You're out in Florida. I'm out here in Chicago. And so, in terms of what I do, I wake up uh, around 7:30 every day, and then I will usually work out, do some sort of movement, work out sometimes, do a little yoga sometimes, do I don't know, just move around a little bit, and then I will eat breakfast, and uh, I do a little bit of meditation in the morning, not too much, but 5-10 minutes, and then I will.
Can you talk about your Zoom? Did you do a Zoom workout class?
Yeah, I did do a Zoom workout class. That wasn't yeah, it's called Camps. I did it with a few friends. And yeah, it's a good workout. There's a bunch of uh there's a bunch of streaming workouts that you can do. I've been doing a lot of YouTube workouts because usually I go up to the gym I'm in my apartment and it's closed right now. So I've been forced to stay in my apartment to work out, or go on runs, but I don't really like to run that much. So um yeah, I
So,
will.
so just a side story. When we went to back in October, we went to an auction to buy properties. We bought like what did we buy? Like 15 properties at the auction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we bought a bunch of properties, and it was the first time I shared a hotel room with Willie. And I woke up to him doing burpees, saying 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre, four. I have it on video. I don't know how to. I don't know if I send it to you, you're not going to share it, but it'd be pretty funny for people to see. And that's so. Anytime he works out, we call it the 1 acre, 2 acre workout.
Yeah. So it's a good workout for sure. Um, okay, going on. I work out. I'll do a little bit of meditation. I'll eat breakfast, and then I'll shower and eat breakfast, and then it's usually up to do some tasks. So I usually, like Paul was mentioning, I plan my days the prior day. So I have a huge to-do list, and I would share it, but there's some sensitive info in there. And there's probably like 20 to 25 things on that to-do list every single day. And so in the mornings, I usually prioritize the tasks that are most critical. Or if we don't have anything that, or we have to, for whatever reason, we have to focus more in the afternoon, I'll just knock out some of the, as Paul likes to call them, the micro tasks. So I have a lot of micro tasks. I try to outsource as many of those as possible, and Paul keeps getting on me to do so. But I do have a lot of micro tasks. So I'll batch those in the morning or batch those in the afternoon, depending on when we've got critical tasks to work on. And so I will focus on completing those, and then uh, eat lunch, and then after that, again, it depends on the day. So say we've got our main task in the afternoon, so then we'll focus on cranking out those things, and usually work until around 5, and eat dinner. Try not to eat anything after 6, and then usually either activity at night or we'll be cranking until bed, and that's pretty standard weekday, I'd say. So
We are we getting any questions? I'm
yeah,
looking at the live. It's
I will focus on completing those.
can you clear them out? It's like showing at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some questions. I'm getting I'm getting a few in the chat, or I've gotten one from Hayden. He said, "Are you posting multiple ads for each property on Facebook Marketplace, or just one per property?" So we will just post one per property in one market. We're not actively on there, just posting in multiple markets. Although it's probably a good strategy. I think that's you're more likely to get booted if you are doing things like that. I know a bunch of people have been having issues with Facebook and getting kicked off.
Yeah,
For post.
we don't mess with any of that because it's our bread and butter. It's just not worth the risk for us.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk for us, so we don't do it. That said, I think it would be pretty effective if you screw around with the ads. I mean, if you're going to do it, I would say be smart about it and uh, and just change up the copy, change up the images, and you could post in multiple markets because Facebook's not going to know that you're posting the same ad in a different way. But we personally don't do that. We got another Facebook user. I can't see where that chat's coming from, but says, "What are the first steps getting started in land investing?" I don't know, Paul. You want to tackle that one?
That's actually asked by Garland.
There
Uh,
it is. Your boy.
what are the first steps in getting started with land investing? I would say the first step is figuring out what your budget is and figuring out how much you can spend on this project. Because if you have $1 million to spend, you're going to go and buy a bunch of properties that are probably costing you 15 grand or something like that. If you have $100,000 or $50,000, you're going to go for cheaper properties. So I'd say the first step is figuring out what your budget is. Would you agree with that as the first step?
Yeah. No, figure out your budget, and then after you do that, figure out what market you're going to invest in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think first step is really you got to figure out what your budget is because that's really going to determine what market you're going to be able to invest in because your budget determines what price property you're going to go in. So I think that's
Willie,
pretty good advice.
there's like a big backup of yeah. Can you like remove some of these questions or like have only one pop up at a time?
I don't know how it works. This is our first time doing it. It's working for me. Is it not working on Facebook?
No, I mean I'm looking at it live on the other screen and it's showing 1, 2, 3, 4. It's showing like 6 questions and it makes it's everything's getting smaller. Like
I don't know. No, I made it smaller because I was trying to not have it cover your head.
Oh, people don't need to look at.
So we're good. So Nakeem Morgan. So now on YouTube says, has your sales decreased due to times where we are? So our sales have they declined? It's hard to say. We haven't had a big enough sample size.
Not really. I mean, honestly, I think our margins keep going up. What do you think?
I mean, we've had some silly margins recently, but in terms of yeah,
do you want me to talk? I have my notepad here. Do you want me to talk about the 2 deals that we did yesterday?
Sure.
I'll just read off the numbers. We had one lot that we bought for $3,511. We sold it on terms for $30,000. Or it comes at $30,108. That was deal one. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't announce this because maybe our buyers are watching.
I think
I'm actually. I don't know if this is a good idea.
All right, pass. All right, but yeah, I would say. I mean, no, I think we sold 5 properties this week, and then we sold like a number of wholesale. We're not counting the wholesale property sales.
Yeah. Again, anyone that wants to just get started today and you don't want to wait for mail to go out, we just started doing wholesaling this week and it's catching on. How many wholesale properties have we sold in the last week? That's kind of more your project. How many have we moved?
Probably 8. Probably sold 8, but yeah, I mean we don't count those as sales because we're selling those at wholesale price. I would say retail. Yeah, I think we've sold 5 this week so far. It's Thursday.
Yeah, 5. I know David's probably got a couple more coming tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's hard to say if sales have declined. We've had really good weeks and pretty average weeks. So I would say not a big enough sample size. Nothing like dramatic has shifted. David keeps saying we're fine. Like he's saying nothing's changed on his end. So he knows the best. He's saying that lead flow is still really good. So hopefully it keeps going. But hard to say if the overall market sales have declined. I would imagine a little bit, but I don't know how much.
Dean just asked, do you have a list of wholesale properties available? Is Dean? I don't know. Dean, are you currently? Are we only offering it to students right now, or what's?
So email Andrew at landinvestingpros.com. He can help you out with the wholesale list if you're interested in buying wholesale properties. Andrew at Land Investing Pros. So Anthony on YouTube says, are builders still buying infill lots? So I would imagine, so we don't buy a ton of infill lots. In fact, we rarely do. We do buy them, but I would say 90% are not.
It's just not our bread and butter.
It's not our bread. I mean, they're just more expensive lots. Like they're good to buy, but it's harder to churn those and they cost more money. And so we're not buying a ton of those. I would imagine builders are probably not starting projects right now as much. I mean, I bet there's still a good amount, but I would say that I would feel comfortable saying those sales have probably, or those that kind of business is probably.
Well, I'm actually pretty excited to talk to Brent on Tuesday. I posted about it. He specializes in house wholesaling, so it's going to be super interesting to find out what people are, if it's easier to buy or harder to like. I'm genuinely curious. Like, do you think people are more willing to sell, or it's like a complete standstill, like with the whole house wholesaling thing? So we're going to have him in on Tuesday because it's just a completely different perspective from what we're normally used to. And I mean, I don't know a ton about house wholesaling. Do you, Willie?
I know a good amount, but I don't know. I've been picking in, I've been like listening into some like calls regarding wholesaling, and it seems like people are still doing deals, but who knows exactly how many people are doing deals and how lucrative that is in this environment. I would imagine that's getting hit harder. I would imagine that's getting hit a lot harder than land investing because those projects, you're wholesaling these properties, you're spending a lot of money to improve them and make them more retail because a lot of these properties you're buying are pretty torn down, beat up houses. And so those require leverage and a lot of risk and more market certainty when you're selling it. And there's just not going to be that market certainty. Our niche is completely, we're distanced from that area because one, we're not levered, and two, there's not a lot of development happening on these properties, and they're just like retail buyers. So so we're getting a bunch of questions. We had one, I think I'm missing a bunch, but one says, "How big is our team?" So our
12.
team, yeah, Paul, you want to take that one?
Uh, yeah. Well, so yeah, we have a team of 12 right now, but we actually had someone. We literally the week before coronavirus hit, it was the final rounds of interview for an additional sales guy, and and we were going to just hire him that day, and then for some reason we were like, let's just wait for a few more candidates, and then we didn't end up hiring anybody because we're just trying to see what plays out, and now there's going to be even better candidates. But yeah, so we have a team of 12. It's me, Willie, my cousin David is the sales manager. We have Andrew in the office who is our transaction close. He's just the closer, deal maker guy.
Oh
So
God,
before
he'd love to hear you say that. His heart was just warmed.
he loves deals. Uh, so do we consider Larry an employee or no?
No,
No, he would be the board member,
he's the board member.
the advisor. He's got so Andrew is our transaction guy. He used to be like a title searcher person at Chicago Title and Trust. So he's really good with deeds and stuff like that, and knows how. He's just really good at what he does. Then we have a whole marketing team. There's 3 of them. Then we have all of our assistants, our virtual assistants. So that's what do they have? I think there's 4 of them that are like managers doing our stuff, and then they have people under them that are running like the land BAs. So we dropped land BAs yesterday. For those of you who don't know, that's our like if you need help with your land business to outsource tasks. I made a video yesterday about that. So they kind of manage. We basically have managers that manage the people under them. They don't.
NBAs.com.
Yeah,
Is what you
landbas.com.
launched. Is what we launched.
Yeah, and that's pretty much our team. And we just hired. We're about to hire a content person who's going to help us, so we don't look like fools right now. And they'd probably be mad that I had.
Yeah, we got a couple other people working part time in other capacities.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so Nakeem says, so are you selling your property market value in terms? So I mean, we're probably pricing ours a little bit cheap. We're pricing it cheaper than market on cash prices. Than terms. We'll just apply an interest rate on the cash price to imply our sales price. So I would say we're selling our lots a little bit cheaper than retail. Yeah, we try to keep it a little bit cheaper. So Facebook user, I don't know who this is. The one you bought for 3K, how long did it take to sell? Or would you say as a whole, it's a numbers game? Like we need to have more property inventory to have more turnover. You want to answer that?
I'll let you answer it.
So I mean, that one, I know the seller on that one, and we bought that, I think, within 30 days. I would say most of our properties sell in 30 to 45 days. We don't really hold inventory too long. We've
There's
had,
a couple. There's a couple I was looking. We have like a couple that are at like maybe 70 days, like, but they're like crappy properties that we
I
bought.
honestly
But
don't know. I haven't looked in a while.
but I mean, we're they're moving pretty damn fast because we're getting better and better at buying, and
Yeah.
as we're growing, like this is why having a list is so important, and that's why we have a full-time sales manager, because he's in contact with people that are interested, and like the people tell him what they want, and then we go out and find it. So, we're getting better and better in the exact areas that they want, the acreage sizes, and what stuff they're looking for. And so, as we're growing our list and as we're just getting better at the areas that we buy in, we're able to move properties faster because we know what our clients want. And that's why you like need to build your brand. You need to build trust, and you need to build your list.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for that one, I mean, don't focus on the cost in these because, like, literally, the property we sold for 30 grand, we sold that below what we could have. Like, we could have priced it higher. Um,
We just
and
wanted to sell
so,
faster.
like, the thing about this niche and why it works because we are so good at sourcing these things, and people, I would say the vast majority of people just don't know how to sell them at retail or close to retail, and their sales process is all kind of screwed up, and they're just most investors are just not able to churn properties as fast. Like even my old business, like when I was working by myself doing this with just a VA before Paul pranced around, like I was selling these things a bit slower. Once we partnered up and started doing things very different is when we really started to churn things faster. Because I used to hold property for a while. Like we do not hold property very long. So we've shaken things up a little bit, but like everyone's getting deals out there. No one has issues getting deals. Just people have issues selling things. So yeah, I mean the secret sauce is that we're able to source these things at great prices.
Man, a lot of
Um,
questions. This is like our first time going live at night. I think we should stick to night. There's way more interaction.
yeah, you're right. You're right. So I think I missed some. I think some already went like down the trash.
What's
Um,
that?
I think some I already missed some questions, but do you send letters to land with LLC or trust owners? Paul?
I don't follow that question.
Yeah, we do. We do not filter out trusts or LLCs.
By who we mail. I got
Yeah,
it. Yeah. No, we mail everyone except for like U.S. government. We basically filter out anyone that's out of country. We don't filter out of state because we buy from everybody and anybody. I think that you're wasting your time by not, or you're losing opportunities, because I think I've heard other people saying like, oh, you should filter out filter out the in-state and only mail the out-of-state because they're more likely to sell. Well, I do believe in that, Willie? I think it's a load of crap.
So I mean, I think you could get more leads by mailing out of state, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous to. It's way better to focus on the market that you're mailing rather than focusing on getting the out of state owners because, like the list bears fruit. Like the issue is not the list that you're hitting. The issue is the market that you're hitting. So like you will find deals if you're hitting um, an in-state list, an out-of-state list, it doesn't matter. Like you might get a little bit, you probably will get a little bit more leads if you mail out-of-state, but I think it's way more important to buy in a market that you think is good rather than to hyper target. Okay, this list, I'm gonna get the text lingual list because I'm gonna get the most response. Because how many deals do we have in our pipeline right now that we could buy tomorrow?
150 plus.
We never mail out of state like specifically. Um, so I think I mean that's our strategy, and I think it's kind of you shouldn't be focused on just mailing out of state. You should be focusing on the market because that's going to be more. That's going to give you better results.
Um,
Do we ever plan on doing any developments? Paul, do you? Let me. I got.
uh, no. I mean, for us, our goal, we want to continue to grow the land business and make our company a nationwide company at some point. But that's down the line and requires a ton of capital. But um, I mean, I would say our aspirations, like just from an investment standpoint, we definitely don't want to get into development, but our goal in like, next year or two is like, we want to buy a mobile home park for sure. That's on the list, or start a mobile home park with one of our lots. I don't know. We haven't really talked about what we want to do besides like a mobile home park, right?
I can tell you we're not going to start a mobile home park in one of our lots, but that would be good. I'm down to buy a
No, we
mobile home
want to
park.
buy. We want to buy a mobile home park, though.
Yeah.
You don't want to do development, do you?
Nah, not really. Maybe down the line, but we don't have experience with that. We have experience buying like sourcing cheap property and selling it, and I don't see a reason to get away from that because it's churning so well right now. So I don't really want to. We've got to focus, and we're just not trying to
Uh,
see
this
this
is
shiny object.
Nakeem. I like this. Someone said. Nakeem said, "I have $1,000. What should I do? I'm new. I feel like he needs a little bit more money and he can get started. Can you do it? I feel like it's a little tough at $1,000.
No, with $1,000, I'd find some capital partner. And I was talking about this the other day. You should find someone with money. You should start an LLC. You should have that person fund the LLC, and you should split the profits with that person. And then use that $1,000 to as marketing money and just send out mail. That's what I would do. If I only had $1,000, that's what I would do, and it would. I mean, it's easier if you have a little bit of experience, but I think I mean, if you hustle, you can make it work. But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, $1,000 to buy property for yourself, I would say is not enough. You got to. I mean, you could try to option some properties, but I think I would just try to save up to at least 5 grand in acquisition money and maybe a couple $1,000 for marketing. So I would say start with $7,000, like $7,000 total, and you're good. But otherwise, you could raise some money and start a new LLC and split profits. And frankly, that's what I would do if I had no money.
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
So okay, on the sales side, how are you marketing the properties? That's your end, Paul.
So we're marketing them on Zillow. I got to get with David tomorrow and make sure that we're up to date. Zillow, LandWatch, land.com. I also got to get, Willie, did you used to market on LandFlip? It's on my list, but he's supposed to sign us up for LandFlip. Have you had success on
Yeah,
LandFlip?
yeah, I have back in the day. Land Flip, Land Century.
Is it free to post on there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I got to get him on that. But Zillow, we spend a ton of money on LandWatch, which I think we're spending $1,500 a month just on ads on their website. We're all over Facebook Marketplace, and then we just have we grow our email list with advertising. So we have over 5,000 people on our email list, and it's growing by tenfold all the time.
Yeah, the email list is
So
really
we sell a ton of properties through email, actually, and we'll talk to someone today who will buy in 3 months, but in that interim, they'll be looking at our properties and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So someone said, Facebook user says, I just joined the group, not at all educated on land flipping. Can you give me a quick backstory on how or why y'all started?
Oh man, can you summarize it in 1 minute, Willie? I'll ramble for too long.
Yeah, I was looking to get out of my job, found house wholesaling, and wasn't super pumped about going on site properties while I had a full time job. So I just kept digging and found a niche where I could do it all behind a computer screen. So it's just house wholesaling, except don't have to leave. And I think, from my view, it's a bit more scalable because you don't need to go on site to any of these properties, and you can just 5 seconds diligence and outsource the rest of your diligence to other like to VAs and people who could help you close deals. So I think it's really scalable, and that's why I kept with it. And margins are silly. You can get source stupid cheap property. No other niche in real estate can you source these kind of properties. So yeah, that's why I got started.
So Nakeem said you do Amazon. Can you give me some tips? Because that's my current business. how many products do you have? What space are you in? Like, I need some details here. Amazon has got hundreds of millions of products on it, and every niche is different. But yeah, so if you want to talk about Amazon, you can post some. I'll answer any question you have about Amazon. I've been doing that for years.
He's the Amazon guy.
Well, actually, Garland, who's in here, he's a bigger Amazon guy than me now. He's the big dog.
Yeah. So Jacob Lucas says, "Hey Willie, can you break down your closing process?"
Wait, Willie, we can't hear you.
Sorry.
Now I can hear you.
Jacob Lucas says, "Hey Willie, can you break down your closing process when you sell a property?" So if we sell a property on terms, so someone will check out on the website and we'll get a notification. David usually contacts him. Our sales guy usually is on the phone with him and will start the closing process. The VAs will complete the closing paperwork that will get uploaded to signnow.com. We use signnow.com for electronic signatures, and the document will be sent out to the terms buyer for electronic signature. They will sign the document, and then they're free to use and improve the property. We do allow them to make improvements to the property while they're making payments, and that's really it. Once they sign that document, that's then payments are automatic. We set it up so it's automatic recurring payments, and yeah, and then if it's a cash deal, so they'll check out with usually a wire. We require wires for cash sales, and so they'll send a wire, and then they'll sign a purchase agreement before that, and then after they send the wire, we will sign the deed. Our VAs will prepare the deed. We'll sign it, and then the VAs will prepare any change of ownership forms, and then we will get all those documents sent over to the seller with instructions on how to actually get the deed recorded. So it's not too crazy of a process. We've got a notary in house who does all of our signings and notarizes all of our documents.
My sister, since you guys are Facebook friends, she just commented, "Classic Paul Exotic." I like that.
Paul Exotic, I like it.
Paul Exotic in the house.
Yeah.
I think if I ever became a stripper, my name would be Paul Exotic.
I'm not going to rule it out. It might happen.
I mean, if the land business goes under,
you got a backup plan.
I got a backup plan. There's actually a lot of questions coming in. I like this question. This is from Dean. Should new investors start with desert squares, Navajo, Cochise, Costilla County, and that's all Colorado? Navajo, is that Colorado or New Mexico?
Navajo's New Mexico. Or sorry, Navajo's Arizona.
Or just skip it and look somewhere else. I would definitely not skip it. You need to do everything based off of data. I don't care if it's a square. I don't care if it's a triangle. Like, do everything based off of data.
Yeah. So there's a lot of bad advice. Like people knocking. I'm getting a little bit angry about this because people knock desert property all the time. And this business has nothing to do with what type of property it is. It's all data driven. Like everything you're doing is data driven. If the data supports, like you should go to this market, you should go to that market, whether it's desert or not. And if you're buying property based on whether like you think it's visually appealing, you're in a different business than me. You could go buy silly property with good trees on it that you'll sit on for 12 months. It's great. You should be buying property based on data and not what type of property it is. So that's my rant, my little rant. But yeah, I think hidden desert property, if it's in a good market, go for it. If it's beautiful treed property with mountains in the distance, but same good data that supports the market, go for it.
But don't buy a side of a mountain.
Don't buy mountain sides.
You've done it and you've sold them.
Yeah, I've done it. It's kind of fun.
I was looking at so I was screening through our 150 leads that we have right now today, and I saw something interesting that I think we should bring up. We've never really ran into this. There was a couple properties that I saw, and it was in an area where there's a ton of windmills and no houses or anyone building anywhere near it. And so, like, you don't want to, I mean, it's not a good idea to buy a property that's right next to a windmill because, I mean, it could be good if you plan on selling it to the windmill company, but no one's ever going to build next to a windmill. So like, be aware of your surroundings when you buy stuff.
Yeah, that's good advice. You don't want to buy a piece of crap property,
Yeah,
but
don't like
at a
side
good
of them
enough
up.
price, I will buy pretty much anything. Jamie says Willie G. Bashkin. That's from Austin. But
Willie G. Baskin, I love it. I love it. Paul Exotic and Willie G. Baskin. Can you get a Carol Baskin background going, maybe?
that's a good idea. It's not a
Hold
bad
on,
idea.
I'll tell you what background to get. Just keep answering questions. I'll get you a
Okay.
background.
So
There's a ton of questions right
Jacob says, okay, so the signed document does require a notary for terms. No, it does not. For the way we do it, we do not get notary signatures for term sales. That would take a lot of notaries. We sell most of our properties on terms, so yeah, I would say no notaries needed for that. Hayden says, do people get sketched out about wire transfers? I feel like that would sketch me out. Yeah, I think some people definitely do. Um, yeah, so it's a little bit of a sales game. Um, yeah, you got it. Like I would say, everything's building trust. I always preach building trust through your website, through your emails, through just all little things, talking to people on the phone. Um, your website builds so much trust. I can't emphasize that enough. If someone's telling you don't need a website, I'd say they're doing they're doing a niche, but it's a different niche than what we're doing because without a website, we don't even have a business. So build as much trust as you can and see if you can get a wire. I mean, if uh, you can still get a credit card, but these credit card companies don't want you to do that. Um, so you just got to be careful. You don't want to get a chargeback on a big amount. Okay, we've got. Let's see.
We're just getting bombed with questions. I think we got to keep doing this at night. It's great.
Yeah, nighttime seems to be the better time. All right. Where are we? Okay, so what do you believe is the most important delegation that you made in your land business? So I think I could speak to this. I would say it depends what stage in your land business you're at. And I always talk about the last thing you want to do is to delegate. The last thing is talking to buyers. That's the most important aspect as you're getting started. I mean, what we don't outsource today is we don't outsource the markets that we choose. We don't outsource um, the building the list and yeah, building the list, pricing the list. We do all that on our own, and then pricing the deals when they come through and reviewing the deals. That's all we do. That's honestly all we do. We don't spend that much time in the business because we've outsourced literally everything, every part of it, and it's more of an investment right now because like we're so removed and we're just focused on building the business and like everyone's in place to manage all leads and on buy side and on the sell side and do all the closings. So we literally don't need to do anything in the business anymore. We've outsourced whatever we can or that makes sense to at this point. So I would say as you're getting started, the most important thing is I would say outsource doing your property diligence, outsource doing your property postings, outsource doing your any property listings. You don't want to be creating the listings or doing the postings. That's probably the first things that you can outsource, and then after that you can think of outsourcing your buy side, that complete process of closing the deals and talking to sellers and negotiating with sellers. And I'd say the last thing is outsourcing the talking with buyers. But I think you want to get a lot of experience doing that because that's the life of this business is sales. Because any idiot can buy these property at cheap prices. It's those that are able to sell them who are able to do a lot better. And there's a few things that go into it, but part of it is the sales over the phone, which is very important. So how much mail are we sending out right now, roughly? Paul, you can still hear me, right? Are you still looking for
Yeah.
my picture?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I couldn't find the one that I wanted. It was too small. So I'll get you. I'll get you a nice one, you cool cat.
Okay, good. So we've been sending out about 12 to 15,000 a month, and we did that for probably we probably did that for 5 to 6 months consistently, and now we're overwhelmed with leads. So we haven't sent out mail in a few weeks. We've also got Larry who's helping us out. uh, so yeah, I would say we for about 6 months we were sending out about 12 to 15,000. Now we've got like 150 leads to be reviewed that we have so much stuff going on. We don't even have time to review them. So we just stopped sending out mail for a couple of weeks. We'll probably send out mail next week. But I would say 12 to 15 on average. We'll probably going forward will be north of 10, but probably not 12 to 15. So Alex Jabber from YouTube says, at what point do you use a title company / title insurance over a certain price or complex with title ownerships? So that is a good question. And so it depends on, we try to avoid it whenever possible. Let me just go and say that. So we do our own title searches. We do our own lien searches, making sure that the titles are clear. If a property, if we think we're going to sell it for 25 to 30 grand, at that point we'll probably, or 25 to 30 grand or higher, at that point we'll determine whether or not we think title is necessary. If we're going to sell it for less than 25 grand, I wouldn't even probably think about using title. So it really, for me, it depends on the sales price more than anything, because I mean, we sell a lot of these on terms. We do our own title search. We do a good job. All title companies do is insure the title. And so, like, if there's a defect with the title, you can go back to them and say, hey, you screwed this up. But at the end of the day, you can always fix, like, if you're buying the property from a seller and and that seller is the owner of record at the county, then and then you're getting title transferred from that previous owner to you. Worst case really is you have to go through like a quiet title action. You need to go through a lawyer to fix it. That'll cost you 3 to 5 grand at the most. And so, like, what are you really paying for title insurance for? Is at the end of the day is the question. We're selling these things. We don't need a title company to do the buy side. We don't need a title company to do the sell side, because we can handle all of the transfers. Absolute worst case, there's a defect in the chain of title. There's a defect in what's going wrong. Then, like, you hire some lawyers. I've never had to do that. So the worst case has never ever come up for me. And as long as I get title from the county, I'm very fine with it. And I don't need a title company to say, hey, I'm insuring this property, because like that's almost good for nothing. So I mean, I will get it after a certain point because a buyer is going to require it. And like if at the worst case, I mean, if it's a really expensive property, in our case, if really expensive properties over 30 grand, then I will consider it. And because I think a buyer is more likely going to want title insurance, and so I don't want to have to scramble and get title insurance on the buy side, or like fix the chain of title before a buyer buys it, or something comes up unexpected in the chain of title. So that's how I think about it. And so I am less risk averse than I would say most land investors, but that's how I think about it. I feel pretty strongly that once you learn how to go through the process, you learn how to read chain of title, and you do a bunch of deals, you realize it's not that big of a deal. Just close the deal yourself. Save. Depends what market you're in, but title companies can be fairly expensive, and I would say it totally depends on what market you're in, but that's how I think about it. All right. So Jacob says, do you ever partner with realtors, and is 10% realtor fee too much? So I've definitely hired realtors in the past, and for land, a lot of these realtors will require around 10%, and I want them to be motivated when helping me sell these properties. And if you give them like 8%, like on these land deals that you're selling for 30 grand or whatever, what's 8% of 30 grand? Like you're not making a ton of money when you compare to what they are making on other deals like houses. Like they're making significantly more. So I want them to be motivated. So if I do want a realtor, I will incentivize them, and I will give them 8 to 10%. So I don't think that's crazy. Paul, did you find me a picture?
No. I the one I wanted. There's only one that I wanted. The one that I wanted, it was too small. It wasn't going to work.
All right. Well.
So you'll be Willie Baskin next time.
Okay. All right. You want to keep rolling through these questions?
Yeah. It looks like the questions are slowing down a little bit.
Are they?
What KPI?
A lot of questions.
Oh, you do. Maybe I'm missing some of them.
Yeah, you definitely are. Or maybe I missed some earlier. But
what KPIs are you tracking? Did we do that one? No.
No,
right?
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
So we are tracking. We have a big whiteboard in our office, but that's kind of gone on the wayside because no one's in the office right now. One side is our buy side, and one side is our sell side. And so we put on there on the sell side, it's how much revenue did we generate that week? What was our goal? How many properties did we sell? How many properties was our goal? And then the other side, it's how many properties went under contract and how many was our goal. And so the buy side and sell side, David and Andrew, they really it was getting pretty heated. Like Andrew was trying to like sabotage David from selling properties because he wanted to win. And we have like this big cowbell in the office, so every time we sell a property, we ring the cowbell.
Andrew's got a little one that's just a little
Andrew's got a Tinker Bell. David's got a cowbell because it's obviously a lot easier to buy property than sell property. I miss coming to the office, don't you?
Yeah, so I'd say the KPIs are pretty important. They just, I mean, they keep
It
you
motivates
focused
the
on.
hell out of everybody.
Yeah, it really does. It's crazy how, specifically Andrew, how motivated he was once you put up that whiteboard on the wall, like how motivated he was to track down more sellers and close more deals, just literally just to hit these arbitrary numbers that we put on the wall. So, yeah, it's weird what happens when you put random numbers on the wall. So I think it's good to track KPIs. All right, so let's see what else we got here. How much mail are you guys sending out? At what point do you use a title company? Okay, so Nakeem says I mainly sell electronics on eBay by looking to venture in Amazon to double money so I can start out with land. What business model do you recommend on Amazon to scale?
I would forget about Amazon and go right to land. Find an investor in land. It's way easier.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of headaches.
Amazon's a lot of headaches.
I haven't done it, but based on what you tell me, seems like a lot of competition and a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
So Facebook user says, what are your top 2 to 3 data criteria you look for when picking your counties? So
that's a good Willie question.
That's a good Willie question. Yeah, I would say there's really one key metric that we look for, and that's sold data. Looking to markets where there's properties selling. I don't care how many properties a county has listed for sale. The only thing we care about is how much activity is in the market, and how you can determine that is how much sales are in that area. And so the way I was taught when I got started investing, and I went through a number of different courses, was to kind of look at on the county level and make your decision based on how many properties are for sale in counties. And then I went through that process and I learned, wow, counties are pretty big, and it doesn't make any sense to actually make a determination of where you're going to invest at the county level, because you shouldn't be mailing counties in general. So if someone tells you you should be getting the tax delinquent list and just blasting the whole county, I think that's bad advice. If someone says you should be choosing your counties based on, or your markets based on a county and just blasting a county, I think that's bad advice. You need to focus on the markets where there's sold data and where there's property selling, and ignore everything else, ignore all the noise, because if you focus on the core markets, you're going to do a hell of a lot better. And I wish I had gotten more concise advice when I was getting started, because I think that would have saved me a bunch of headache. So sold data is the number one thing, and then you could look into other things. The second thing I would look into is, like, is there going to be an HOA that's going to be a big pain in the butt? Because you don't want to pay massive fees or massive taxes on property. So look into those things after that. But those are all secondary. I'd still buy in an HOA if there's enough sale activity happening. Nakeem says, what made you guys want to partner up? Paul?
I would say that Willie and I were introduced by a mutual friend, and I kind of saw Willie kept telling me about his business, and I saw what he was doing, and he knew about my business and what I was doing, and I really saw an opportunity. I was like, we could do 10 times what you're currently doing, and we're kind of on track to do that pretty much. But basically, I was like, we need to scale everything you're doing, and I have the experience with managing teams and marketing and all those things I can bring to the table. And so we decided to partner up, and no one's looked back.
Yeah. So we had definitely complementary skill sets, different skill sets going in. Paul had experience like building out like marketing and sales experience building out a sales team, or building out a team, doing some hiring people. I had the skill set of like knowing land in and out. And yeah, so I built a pretty good sized business before I partnered up with Paul, and then so I would, yeah, and then we took it to the next level once we partnered up for sure. Um, let's see what else we got. Um, what made you guys partner up? What KPIs? Okay. So you guys personally don't take phone calls? No, we don't. So we have Pat Lab answers our phone calls on the buy side, and then David, our sales guy, answers or does all the calling on the sell side. So we don't answer any phone calls anymore. Facebook user, what was your average acceptance rate when you send out offers?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't track that only because it's a relevant question, and it is important to track everything in your business. And um, I'm very into tracking everything, but this specific KPI is irrelevant because we know that the return on mail is so silly, it's so stupid that like it makes the event of sending out mail a no-brainer because we get so many deals from spending very, very little money on mail. So I don't have an exact number. I would say the acceptance rates it's probably less than 0.5%. However, but um, yeah, probably less than 0.5%. But if you're in doubt of like, should I be sending out mail? The answer is yes, and you should be sending out a lot of it, just to get more leads coming through. You're in a much better position negotiating when you have a lot more leads coming through, and so I think that would be some advice on that.
Someone just said, I just signed up for Data Tree. What's next? Did they sign up through us, I hope? Doesn't look. Yeah, they did. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. That was,
Sean?
no, maybe, never mind. He did not sign up through us for Data Tree.
Sean, that's pretty disappointing because we got
we have the lowest price on the internet for Data Tree.
yeah.
You can't get it lower than us for the price.
But yeah, I mean, once you get data tree, I mean, next is kind of determining your budget, choosing your market, sending out mail, going through the full process, buying and selling. So Sean got it through RE Tipster.
Yeah, our price is lower.
Yeah, our pricing is a bit lower. Next time. Anthony says, "What's your plan to hit 1 million in revenue?" Paul, you wanna?
No, 100 million.
Yeah, 100 million in revenue.
We're gonna take this bad boy nationwide.
Yeah, so now we're in a few different pockets, but we hope
they're very, very small pockets within pockets.
Yeah. So we haven't even scratched the surface of where
What's
this can
possible?
go, just because everything's virtual and we're in very few markets compared to how many markets we could potentially be in.
Yeah, we want to be the Walmart of lots.
The Amazon of lots.
What's an ideal amount to start with? Ideal amount of what?
Money, probably.
Data to download.
So if you're talking about funds, the more the merrier. I would say the minimum I would suggest is $5,000 in acquisition capital. That'll allow you to buy 5 properties, $1,000 each, or 10 properties, $500 each, depending on what markets you're hitting. If you're talking about mail to send out, I would say blast 3,000 units, see what happens. I think that would be a good starting point for you. But if we're wrong on those, you could clarify. We'll happy to answer.
Any more comments?
Yeah, there's a couple more. Unless you want to wrap it up, we could either way. There's a
Let's
couple
do
more
two
people.
more and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, sounds good. So Brandon from YouTube says, do you send contracts to sign in your mailers or first contact?
Yes.
Yeah, so we send out blind offers when we send out our mail, and yeah, so you can we send out a one-page offer letter with our mail campaign. So we'll choose our market within the county, and then we'll hit that specific area only, and then we'll price it based on we'll look at the market in that area, we'll see what things are trading at, and we will price it to be very cheap in that area. We're going to get a massive discount, and so our offer will literally be on a letter that we send out to the owner in that area. Our last question.
Sure. Pick one.
So Jay Smith says from YouTube says, I'm trying to structure deals through 50-50 partnership agreements. Do you all do city lots, infill lots, or only rural? So we'll do a mixture of both. And but the infill lots tend to be a little bit more expensive. If you could find a market, and there are plenty of markets actually, now that I'm thinking about it, where you can get cheap infill lots. So we do both. So I would just say look at the data, look where there's a lot of property selling, hit those markets, and then you learn those markets, learn those areas, and iterate and move on. But I think don't think too much about infill lots versus rural. Find your budget and like what you want to be buying property at. Find markets where there's a lot of activity happening at that price range, whether it's rural or infill, and then hit that and hit it hard. So um, that is my advice. We're very data driven. That's how we approach our business, and I think that will help you be successful.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we wrap it up and Willie, you can give the closing remarks.
Yeah. So Armand says in episode 4, Tiger King is so good. Yeah. So Paul's a big fan.
Big
Um,
time.
yeah. So thanks everyone for joining. If you guys are interested in learning land investing from us, you can go to landinvestingpros.com. We've got a new course out there, and we feel strongly it's the best in the market. So Land Investing Pros.
Join our group, the Land Flipping Formula.
Yeah, go to Land Flipping Formula on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and like the channel or like this video. And I think that's about it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.